If something is important enough, even if the odds are against you, you should still do it. Failure is an option here. If things are not failing, you are not innovating enough. I could either watch it happen, or be a part of it. I think it is possible for ordinary people to choose to be extraordinary. No, I don't ever give up. I'd have to be dead or completely incapacitated. I think that's the single best piece of advice. Constantly think about how you could be doing things better and questioning yourself. Don't be afraid of new arenas. People work better when they know what the goal is and why. It is important that people look forward to coming to work in the morning and enjoy working. Pay attention to negative feedback and solicit it, particularly from friends. Hardly anyone does that, and it's incredibly helpful. You have to be pretty driven to make it happen, otherwise, you will just make yourself miserable. Life is too short for long-term grudges. Life on Earth must be about more than just solving problems. It's got to be something inspiring, even if it is vicarious. The first step is to establish that something is possible, then probability will occur. There's a tremendous bias against taking risks. Everyone is trying to optimize their ass covering. Great companies are built on great products. It's okay to have your eggs in one basket, as long as you control what happens to that basket. For my part, I will never give up, and I mean never. Being an entrepreneur is like eating glass and staring into the abyss of death. I think it's very important to have a feedback loop where you're constantly thinking about what you've done and how you could be doing it better. I tend to approach things from a physics framework, and physics teaches you to reason from first principles rather than by analogy. I don't create companies for the sake of creating companies, but to get things done. If you go back a few hundred years, what we take for granted today would seem like magic, being able to talk to people over long distances, to transmit images, flying, accessing vast amounts of data like an oracle. These are all things that would have been considered magic a few hundred years ago. If you're trying to create a company, it's like baking a cake. You have to have all the ingredients in the right proportion. If you get up in the morning and think, the future is going to be better, it is a bright day. Otherwise, it's not. Brand is just a perception, and perception will match reality over time. Sometimes it will be ahead, other times it will be behind. But brand is simply a collective impression some have about a product. Engineering is the closest thing to magic that exists in the world. Some people don't like change, but you need to embrace change, if the alternative is disaster. What makes innovative thinking happen? I think it's really a mindset. You have to decide. People should pursue what they're passionate about. That will make them happier than pretty much anything else. I'm interested in things that change the world or that affect the future, and wondrous, new technology where you see it, and you're like, wow, how did that even happen? How is that possible? Persistence is very important. You should not give up unless you are forced to give up. My biggest mistake is probably weighing too much on someone's talent and not someone's personality. I think it matters whether someone has a good heart. I think we have a duty to maintain the light of consciousness to make sure it continues into the future. When Henry Ford made cheap, reliable cars, people said, "Nah, what's wrong with a horse?" That was a huge bet he made, and it worked. Don't delude yourself into thinking something's working when it's not, or you're gonna get fixated on a bad solution. Don't confuse schooling with education. I didn't go to Harvard, but the people that work for me did. Science is discovering the essential truths about what exists in the universe. Engineering is about creating things that never existed.